All right. So there's an interesting and a boiling subject because of the CRL's direction of putting forward a commission that is supposed to kind of like bring forward ethics, a registration format for the church, a form of regulation. You could kind of put it like that. And I wanted to go back into that subject. And I say back, people are only looking at the current videos of what the CRL has been saying. But I want to take you back as far back as 8 years back. Has the CRL changed its tune? Not really. Is that how they are going about it is what I find very interesting. I want to talk about that part. I'm not talking about we should be scared. No. I want to put it in this manner. It's how they're doing it. Because the CRL says this, and then they're doing this. And then they say, no, it's not this. Then they are doing this. This is what I want us to look at. It's how they continuously implement ideas that they seem to imply they are not doing. That's the conversation I'm interested in having. Now, I did get a list sent to me of the individuals that are in the list as you see them in that picture right there, some of the people and so forth. And the interesting part of this list was the religious organizations they represent compared to church people or us, Pentecostal or evangelical, as you might call us. So I wanted us to go that direction. So I kind of like needed my own touch on the subject and not just do it the way everybody else is doing. It's the Reality Show with daily Christian commentary videos. Other episodes done today will be down in the pinned comments. Now, I want to start this subject with something that I once warned.
God loves you.
This starts from Enigma's comments on politics.
You have a house in heaven, but there is no roof on top.
So here he was talking about Pastor Kenneth Mishwe from ACDP, which is a Christian party.
Your house has no roof and you are a pastor. Why? Because uchi aphume kupolitiki. Because he's a pastor, ahamba ayishumayela aphume kupolitiki, which is.
So that's what Enigma was advising, that, just have nothing to do with politics. This is a problem. There are people that think like this. There are people that think they can look at Christianity and not know politics or not involve their conversations with what's happening in politics. And this subject shows you, if you've been thinking like that, you better wake up. It's getting real out there. Now, that being said, if you are not that fringed, I want to take the subject to what's happening in Nigeria with their whole persecutions. And first, I have a question. What exactly are people hearing from the CRL currently? And this audio explains.
All religious practitioners must be registered with the CRL Rights Commission through the...
So, we are citizens, but we must register particularly with the commission. Okay. Why? And I'll explain to you why this sounds problematic. Because remember, my right to religion means I don't owe anyone to tell them what I believe. So with the system that they are putting forward, I'll show you videos. The system that they are putting forward will almost blast that out there, what exactly my affiliations or community is. And it's only going to complicate things for a lot of people. They're only wanting to make things difficult. Listen.
They are accredited umbrella organization.
So what happens?
So the pastor must be under a particular organization and the members must be registered. This is a whole new database that's going to create the, admin issues for the church particularly. And you will notice this doesn't work for sangomas. It only works for churches because sangomas just had clients. Churches, this is going to make church very weird. What's the government's role in knowing that information? The person leaves a church or leaves a cult. Does that not only endanger where they are or what church they are? Like this information is just not necessary. It's not. It's like when people move, if this type of information is given, members are registered under a particular body, with the pastor being under that particular thing. And then the people that come into that church, they're registered as well. The privacy is gone here. But anyways, let's listen a little bit more further. You'll hear why I'm pointing this out.
To those who refuse to be registered.
It will be an offense to practice without a license. Yeah.
So now the pastors will be arrested if they don't have this license. Your DMVs, like your car registrations, tax registrations, documentation registrations, unemployment, what funeral, what policies, house insurance, what you must still do all of that. And then now we want to add this admin for churches.
You have to be registered or else you'll go to jail.
Why is that a prosecutable thing? Believing something. Why is believing prosecutable? Thing is, it's nice for people who are not religious. Yeah, they love this. They are happy, like, yeah, make it more difficult. I want to take you to a video of an interview between Newsroom Africa. The anchor on the show said something because of the recent launch.
Things are happening in your country.
Yeah.
So
the chairperson seems to think you're jumping the gun here. Must relax.
Yeah.
They couldn't invite all of you because it's a small launch. They can't do it at the FNB Stadium. But
okay, you see what he said there? It's a problem also. They have this idea that the people who were at the launch somehow represent a picture of everyone in faith. But if I take you to that clip, if I show you the video of the people that are at this launch or the people that were at this launch, for me, it's a very interesting one. And why do I say it's interesting? It's interesting because it does not reflect, I repeat, it does not reflect the church. The CRL Commission leader has said about Christians.
If we're going to be asking religious leaders if you want to be held accountable, yes or no, we're not going to find solutions. They're the ones who are abusing people. And fortunately, the NCC, which we had, took a resolution that the CRL must push in whatever way possible, even if it means going to court, to force Parliament to pass legislation.
So, you see right there, she speaks one way. Force Parliament to pass legislation. So right there is the idea of regulation. Different interviews, you will hear her almost not even mentioning that word.
Your report. Firstly, take us to the report and what are some of the key recommendations?
Some of the key recommendations, as you've mentioned, we're saying, number one, every religious leader must be registered, duly registered, with an umbrella organization. First and foremost, you must belong to one. There are many, like your South African Council of Churches.
Now, I get this part, okay? This part, basically, it means that a recognizable body.
So sick, Great Commission, there are many that exist from different formations. So be a member of one. And that one umbrella organization is the first port of defense.
That's the part right there. I want you to note, on the other video, she says the ANC had told them to enforce this thing to a point where if you have to force regulating, go that far. So here she says the first point is them being a part of a thing. You're not done. So now you see where the regulation part of it comes in.
Where they will guide you, train you, capacitate you in how to run an institution.
I get the purpose of that. But I want to show you how they are speaking in two tones. One, we're not regulating. But then on the other video, oh yeah, we're trying to force it to a point where it will get to be forced down regulation.
Capacitate you in how to run an institution. Teach you about the laws of the country, about when you pay taxes, how you do this, how you do that. And if you are out of line, they are the ones who will discipline you.
So you see right there, that's the part of the peers. To say, yeah, you know, the people of your peers, the people that are in your doctrinal space will call you out. Now, that part, I'm totally for that. I get that part. I get that aspect. But you see that one that she mentioned, which she said, forcing down legislation. Because remember the board that you are seeing here. The people that are at the top to doing that, what do they believe? What do these people here believe? We'll go back there just in a second. So remember that while we go through this video.
And we're saying there's a second level of defense in case the first one fails. What we call a peer review committee, which is also religious leaders, no state involved. That will then be the second level where you can appeal as a religious practitioner, etc. But that's when a decision is taken to say, okay, maybe you're suspended because of what you've done, or they ask for you to be removed from the register of religious leaders in the country. Those have been followed and take the final decision and make the relevant recommendation.
Do you see these things? This is, okay, so you are registered. You're registered now with the CRL and the whole 9 years. And then these people, based on what they believe, they are going to be the ones that say, okay, now question. Now do you get why I'm asking? What do these people believe? This system, pastors are literally going to have like an FSP number that you see. Now, I do think this is going to now touch places where even the average person on social media, because that's exactly what we are seeing in China right now.
Lately, the NCC, which we had, took a resolution that the CRL must push in whatever way possible, even if it means going to court, to force Parliament to pass legislation.
You remember those two. So you see, so that's literally the third level. So you see, there she only mentioned two. So for the longest time, people only knew about the two or the two ideas that she speaks about there. And by the way, she's never changed. It's been like that. She's been saying that for the past 8 years. That particular criteria, registered under a particular body, then the people will review you. Do you see why I have questions about that? I have questions about that because the question should be, what do the people that you are being reviewed by believe? We differ when it comes to biblical approach. Will they fail me because they don't believe what I believe? I support Israel. Now, some of the mandams over there, maybe they want to be pro-Palestine. Now, do I get failed because I don't meet their standard? We're going to have problem with that system.
In the sector at all?
There haven't been many changes. Actually, there have been changes. It got worse. Because
They're talking about after that investigation 8 years to 10 years ago, what has happened so far. This is an interview from about 5 months from now. That puts it to about, let me see the date, April this year. Okay, so this interview is about April this year, and she is now bringing up what was the progress. So she says things got worse.
Religious leaders resisted this last time vehemently with death threats, with all sorts of other things. But the reality is, because it's getting worse, we're back now saying this needs to work. And we're saying we need timelines, tight timelines.
Do you hear? Do you hear the two tones in their language? It's the third step that she didn't say in the other two videos, in the other two examples that she mentioned 8 years back. She mentions being reviewed by your peers and having this name which people can search you by, like an FSP number, like financial institutions have. But then this third step, it's that part that you saw in that clip that I showed you, where she speaks about a forced down regulation. That's the third thing that she doesn't mention. And she doesn't talk about that part much. So now, 3, 4, 5 months back in April, this is now, she was like, yeah, no. So now, last time they resisted, so now we're not standing for that. Okay, what's the way forward?
We're back now saying this needs to work. And we're saying we need timelines, tight timelines. We need to protect people.
You see, right there, you are now hearing the regulative talk or the tone of regulation. You are hearing the third arm speaking. The third arm, like I showed you, there is two aspects that she mentioned earlier on. You have your peers reviewing you, but then now, this third one. So now, all of that resisting, it means we don't care what y'all guys were saying. We don't care what you guys were saying. Now this, do you see why I look at that interview that they did on Newsroom? And he was saying, the other gentleman was saying, oh yeah, you are just kicking about. You should have actually relaxed. They're going to bring you into the talk, into the conversation.
The person seems to think you're jumping the gun here. Must relax. They couldn't invite all of you because it's a small launch.
That's not it. It's not about a small launch. It's that the ideas of why people were against this idea, they were saying, regulation bodies already exist. You already have criminal investigations that are dealing with enforcing. People that are overly doing it, there's already justice system that's dealing with that. The churches in KZN, which were removing kids from school, the kids were put in child protective systems. People like Omotoso dealt with out of here, closed that church. People who are accused of certain things, they are in jail right now. Cases have not been thrown off. The other ones as well, 8 charges previously thrown out, they are now in court. There are systems, which is what Pastor Matebula mentions there. There's been systems that try to govern these areas. So what are you guys trying to do? It's that third arm. They don't talk about that third arm, but it's there. You hear it when she talks about, now we're not listening to you. In simple tone, we're not listening to you. Now we're going to do it.
Work. And back now saying this needs to work. And we're saying we need timelines, tight timelines. We need to protect people.
This idea, what she's saying, is exactly what people were saying the CRL is going towards doing 8 years back. And I'm telling you this because I can tell you this straight up. Whenever you talk to her, she will tell you, no, we're not going to regulate. I've asked her myself. But wait, this regulation thing, it's not going to work. It just doesn't. And I'm telling you, as a person who has talked to her, they all say the same thing. No, we're not going to regulate. So I wanted you to see this, the way in which they've been talking about it and how they are enforcing. So right now, it's like, now we're back and this is what we're doing. And that was 5 months back when they spoke about that. 5 months back, they said, you know what? We're now going to put it forward and this is going through. Now, what I find very interesting is that when you speak about how persecutions, like in areas like Nigeria and so forth, these places, when they want to regulate people who are not the problem.
Of God, and I change, and I am this model citizen. What then happens to me when I have a calling to serve in the children's ministry? Are you going to come to me and say, I cannot do that which I believe God has called me to do because there's some register where my name is?
We'll definitely do that.
Did you hear that? So the regulative tone, it's not always there, but that's exactly what she's doing. That's exactly what the CRL goes towards. They say, no, we are not regulating. But you see in the tone, they tell you about the 2 steps, and then you be like, oh, okay. You leave them alone. And then it's the 3rd thing that they don't always talk about. Even in that interview, she didn't bring up this part. Here's a person with a calling. They are responding to that calling. How do you think? Oh yeah, they're a criminal. That's not the person who's in the wrong. Ooh.
It has called me to do because there's some register where my name is.
We'll definitely do that. Irrespective of your calling, we are a danger to society.
How is a preacher? How? Explain to me. How is a preacher? Now, believe me when I say this. I do believe she is convinced she's right. No, definitely. And that's because she's listening to all these activists and stuff like that. And I've said activism is the worst thing in society, because activism does not understand the right position sometimes. It only advocates harm more than it actually communicates the good. 2 arms. Because a lot of times people, they are alarmed by one angle. And then when the others come into the conversation, they don't see the 3rd one. They only see 2. They only see, but wait, they said regulate themselves. They said regulate themselves. And a lot of people do not hear that 3rd tone. That's the one that I wanted to show you. I remember my mentor mentioning this. It's when they tell you something is wrong and they do the wrong that you know what you're dealing with. So they tell, no, we're not going to regulate. But then in the other videos, you hear her say, oh yeah, we're going to regulate. We're going to push down regulation. But then say, no, we're not doing that. You see, the registrations, for me, those particular 2 steps, once those two steps are, people do belong to one particular church body or the other, right? We do belong to different church bodies or different church denominations and so forth. The 3rd one, that's where a lot of problems are going to come. Yeah, tell me your thoughts down in the comment section. It's the Rich Reality Show. Other episodes down in the pinned comments. Check you out later.